Hello, this is Victor, and this time I want to talk about the dust effects and how to make it more realistic. So if you have looked the picture that I put at the beginning of this video, you have seen that on wheels, to do dusty wheels, normally the wheels on the surface, they don't have dust. Normally in this part, the wheel should not have dust, especially unless you are doing matte. But in that case that I want to do like dust, here you should not have dust in that parts, because are the most external parts of the wheels, and yeah, the dust is rubbed off. On the opposite, normally on a wheel and the surrounding areas will have accumulation of dust and sand. So these are the parts that you have to have more dust. If happen that when you apply the pigment, it's happening like here, that you have dust everywhere. One easy way, if you haven't used any element to fix the pigment in the position, one easy way to remove the dust is just take something like you can take a small, in this case I'm using a tissue. You can take the sponge and then you just start rubbing the dust off, the pigment off with the tissue or with the sponge. In that way you will start having, you also can do sometimes use a brush. So what you want to do is to remove it from the most exposed surface, especially from the wheels. In that way the black will start appearing and will look more realistic. As you can see now, it's looking less, the dust is less accumulated, and we are taking this out from the parts that should not be dust. Okay, we are going to do the same here, for example. So these parts shouldn't have dust or sand, because are the parts that are spinning, and they don't have, they don't accumulate dust. You can even wet a little bit the brush if you want, and it will go faster. So if you wet a little bit the brush, very carefully, just very little wet, and you just pass the brush on top, you will go faster, and you will start removing from the most exposed surfaces, leaving the dust accumulated on the crevices and on the sides. On the sides you should have dust because it's not rubbing with any part when rolling. So clean the brush. You can also use water. I will use not, and then you can, with more control, you can try to remove it from these parts. Again, if you use water, be careful, because you are going to solve again all your pigments. So then with the tissue you can remove it from the surfaces. So what you do indeed is rubbing off the powders from the most exterior surfaces of the wheel, and this will give better effect. The wheel will remain dirt, will still look like dirt, but now will have better texture, will not look like a lot of dust accumulated there. Here is okay. In that part here is okay to have more accumulated, because here is just the dust from the turbulence of the wheel accumulated in that part of the bike. But on this part here we should not have dust. We have to be careful not to rub off the paint, the black paint, when we are doing that. You see, when we go with a little bit wet brush, maybe the work is faster, and then we help with the tissue to remove the excess. Okay, sorry, I go off camera. The camera not well placed today. Here is better. So you see, now it's much better. So this is, I just want to share, I just wanted to share this tip in case you work with powders, and yeah, and if you don't like, if you have powder everywhere, it's not looking that realistic. So just here, and now with and then here on the front wheel, you see here there is too much. I will remove it. When I applied the powders on this bike, I was applying it very diluted. But even if you apply this very diluted, you cannot avoid that a little bit goes on the top parts. So this is why at the end you should clean up a little bit the top of the wheels. Okay, here I should clean this part here. You can also use the sponges use it for makeup. The other thing that you can do is mix two types of pigments, like here, in that part here, to create a little bit more texture and break the uniformity. Mix a clear pigment with one that is darker. So, and I think this is going to be all what I want to share. So just very easy technique. You see now this wheel is looking much better. Once this dries, will go and lighter in color. So the pigments have, also you have to be careful with the pigments, because normally, and I see here that I miss a part with the pigments, so I have some pigments here. You always can reapply pigments. This is the big thing of the nice thing of the pigments. You can always do corrections because they always dilute until you fix that, until you fix them on the miniature. But these were not fixed because I'm waiting to varnish them all together with matte varnish to fix everything in place. So I still have time to do some improvements. So this is just a tip, very fast tip that I've been learning during this week. It was a new learning also for me, this thing, to clean up, to wrap up out the powder when you don't want it in some places, and to make, especially on the wheels, you don't want powder everywhere. You wanted the parts, the most external parts of the wheels should not have powders visible. They should be clean of powders, or at least not as dirt as the crevices, because normally these powders, the surface will be clean because of the spinning of the wheel. So that's all. I hope you find this interesting, and yeah, let me know feedback. And if you have any other question, any other thing that you want to know, I can try to help you as much as possible. And yeah, and if you want to know how I apply that, I have a video. I will put the link below to show the first part, that was application of the powders, and then this is the second part, how to clean it to give a more realistic effect on the wheels. And I think now it's looking much better. It's giving much texture. Here still we can still wrap a little bit more. We can do also the makeup sponges, the sponges that are used for makeup. So, or even with the finger, I'm finalizing this thing. So this is how we look like, and also we have to think that normally the wheels are a little bit satinated. So I think now it's the right finishing. And yeah, thanks first to the feedback I received on PMP. It opened my eyes that I have to make it better. And yeah, and thanks a lot to you for watching, and I hope you see again later. Bye.